So hello guys, and welcome to another tier list video, and Demeech will be joining me once again, but this time, it's actually more of a traditional ranking style thing than a tier list, but rather than doing just a regular ranking of games, Demeech is gonna guess my top 20 favorite video games of all time, basically the order of it, and then at the end of the video, I will show him like my actual ranking of it. So yeah, like for each game I'm gonna give him some clues about where it could possibly be and like my overall thoughts on the game and how much I like it. So yeah.
Here's my question though. I'm looking at this list and I have a pretty good idea, but where's Kablooey?
Yeah, that I feel like it's too good for this list. Like I feel like it wouldn't be a fair list if I put Kablooey on it. It would easily
It broke the scale.
It would easily clear every single game here if I had it on. So, yeah. But let's...
Maybe you should do a deserted island game list and it'd just be 1 second long and just be you saying Kablooey. That's all you need.
Yeah. Like, who cares about Paper Mario when you have Kablooey? That's like just one of the best games of all time. But yeah, starting off, we have like some of the games like from various series here that I consider some of my favorites of all time. But the first one here is Minecraft, and I've been playing Minecraft for over a decade now, and it's just an excellent game in general. Basically, you can just do whatever you want, just like all sorts of different things you can do in the game, like either like PvP with other players, or survival, creative, just build whatever you want. Just like people even do role plays. You can do, like it's just crazy how many things you could do with Minecraft. And over the years, I've had many different worlds, like from creative worlds where I've built like cities and different things like that, and like road systems, because that kind of like got me interested in like engineering and things. And I've also done like survival worlds as well, many different survival worlds, some of which I've played on the channel. It's just like basically just one of the most like one of the biggest and most interesting games of all time, and it's just I always come back to it. Like even though I take breaks from it sometimes, it's just like I always love to just come back to this game and play it with friends. It's amazing in multiplayer. So
Considering the impact it's had on you and how it inspired you to do engineering, I gotta say, this can't go anywhere below top 5 material.
yeah, so I'll place that there. So moving on to Earthbound. Oh, Earthbound is really good. I would say not as good as, well, in my opinion, as the first 3 Paper Mario games, like with, well, my personal enjoyment of it, but I would say it's like one of the best RPGs I've ever played, and I have a feeling that Mother 3 will eventually make it onto my top 20 once I beat that game, because that is also amazing as well. Like, it takes a lot of those, like, standard things you would expect from an RPG and kind of twists it quite a lot. Like, the setting is very different from most RPGs at the time, like, rather than, like, a fantasy-esque world or even a futuristic, esque world, it's kind of more of, like, basically kind of like a, just like almost like real life basically, but it's really weird, like a really weird version of it. There's so many like weird enemies and wacky things. I just love how like a lot of the items are like based on like different like foods and just random stuff you'd find. The story is also great as well. I really like the characters. And the
Now
locations.
here's the thing with this list. You have a ton of great games, so it's hard to think of where the placement would be, but I'm going to have to say it would be an 11 to 15.
Okay. Place that
I
there.
would say it's in that range.
Yeah. So the next one is Sonic Adventure 2, which I actually haven't played until last year. I've been getting into Sonic like quite a lot recently, between last year and like early this year. I mean, I've always been into like the older like Genesis Sonic games. Like I played like Sonic 1 and 2 for like ages now. And like finally, like Sonic Adventure 2 was actually the first 3D Sonic game I played, and funnily enough, I actually basically I traded in my copy of Pokemon Violet and bought Sonic Adventure 2 with the trade-in money that I got.
That's
Definitely,
got to be the best trade I've ever heard of.
yeah, but Sonic Adventure 2, the game itself is absolutely amazing and was absolutely a great introduction to 3D Sonic for me. Like, I mean, even
Now,
though
here's my question. Is it amazing in the sense that it's an amazing game, or is it in the sense of, if you ignore the game, then it's amazing? Because that was with Pokemon Violet.
well, you don't have to ignore it to enjoy it here, because, like, they actually made a good game. I mean, yeah, sure, it does have some flaws here and there, but I never really had an issue with things like the Knuckles levels and the Rouge levels. I always thought they were fine and pretty fun, but the Sonic and Shadow levels here are just some of the best designed levels in the entire series. It's just so fun to play, and the story is amazing as well. Like, I really like high stakes stories. I mean, we'll see later on with games like Super Paper Mario or some of the Zelda games and different things like that. I love high stakes stories, so I love what they did with Sonic Adventure 2 here, and just like I really like Shadow as well. I would say that
I do too.
Shadow is definitely my favorite Sonic character now. I love his
T&D is gonna hate you.
I love his backstory, and I love that he's getting more attention this year with Sonic and Shadow Generations and Sonic Movie 3. It's like Shadow is just such a cool character, and
I still gotta play Shadow the Hedgehog on the GameCube.
I mean,
It seems like my kind of game. Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?
yeah, I want
And
to
just how emo he is.
I want to play it at some point, but yeah, Sonic Adventure 2 is just such a great
You know,
game.
I gotta say, looking at the list, yeah, Sonic Adventure 2 is a great game, but I will say I think it's towards the 19 or 20 range.
Okay. So next up, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I would say, like, this is definitely, like, on par with, like, my favorite Paper Mario games, I would say, except for one. But Xenoblade 3, like, the story is honestly my favorite story in a video game ever, even topping Super Paper Mario. And the characters, I love Noah, Mio, like all the other party members. The story is great. Like, I love how they kind of have, like, basically a twist early in the game. Like, you're basically, like, there's two sides of the game that are fighting, and your party members come from both of those sides, but you have to kind of join together to fight, like, the true evil. And the world looks absolutely amazing. Definitely one of the better looking games on the Switch. Definitely like an example of how Pokemon could have looked. And there's also a lot of fun gameplay mechanics as well. I love the feature where you can kind of change the characters' classes. And there's a lot of customization there. And it's also kind of got me to appreciate, well, kind of Xenoblade in general has got me to appreciate action RPGs more than I already did. Because, I mean, before I've already, like, liked turn-based RPGs, but the way they handled action like, the action, like, gameplay, the real-time, well, kind of a mixture of, like, real-time and turn-based combat in Xenoblade is, like, really fun and engaging, and the exploration is really fun as well. I like doing a lot of the side quests. The side quests are excellent, and I just really like, kind of finding out different things about this world and everything. It's definitely pretty dark for a Nintendo game, kind of like Mother 3, but it's just absolutely excellent. And there were parts in the story that I've actually cried. Like, there's parts where it's actually, like, pretty sad and pretty, like, impactful. But yeah, just
I definitely got to check out Xenoblade now.
Oh yeah, but
what you're saying, I was initially thinking that it would be placed in like 11 to 15, but I'm thinking that it's either 6th or 7th place in terms of the best.
Okay, I'll place it there. So next up, I would say this game used to be at like my like almost towards the very top, but since Tears of the Kingdom released, I mean, yeah, it's still Breath of the Wild is still an absolutely excellent game, and it's like I still like. Well, I mean, I don't really go back to it now that Tears of the Kingdom is out, but when this game first came out in like the year following, I always like to go in this game and explore, just go to random places, and it's just an excellent experience, and it's really like the first like true open, well, I guess Minecraft is technically the first like big open world game that I've played, but like Breath of the Wild is really the first like true kind of designed open world game that I played, and it is just like excellent and definitely a great way to start off like the Switch era, even though it was technically also on the Wii U. I first played it on Switch. I got it with that GameStop bundle that
The thing is anyone else really mad at Nintendo that Tears of the Kingdom was not released on Wii U? I mean, it's a Wii U game, why didn't it get a sequel for it? But, you know, considering that Tears of the Kingdom released, it definitely puts it in an interesting place. And I was thinking exactly what you were thinking when you were describing it, where it would have been placed higher. But with Tears of the Kingdom out, yes, the legacy of Breath of the Wild is still huge, but with Tears of the Kingdom, it essentially replaced it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like, I personally don't go back to Breath of the Wild because of Tears of the Kingdom, but I absolutely admire it for what it did, and it's one of the best games of all time. But I will have to say, I'm guessing that it would be placed in 11 to 15. Probably
Okay.
15th place.
So yeah, moving on, Tears of the Kingdom. This is the game that I actually have been going back to, because this actually upgrades quite a lot from Breath of the Wild and has some of my favorite gameplay mechanics of all time. Like, I love the Ultra Hand feature. I was already telling you, like, I love the different things you could do in Minecraft, like building and different things like that, since I'm interested in engineering and everything. But like, I love building different like things in Tears of the Kingdom, like either for traversal or just random things. I actually had a whole series on the channel, like back when Tears of the Kingdom released, kind of showing off different creations that I made. But also the new areas that they added are just incredible. Like the Sky Islands, I mean, the Sky Islands are great. Like, I really like kind of going between them and finding like different components for like things you could build. But one thing, the best thing that they added to this game wasn't even featured that much in the advertising, and that's the depths. The depths are absolutely amazing to explore. I love the harder enemies in there, and like kind of the gameplay loop of getting like the Zonaite and using it to like basically power up your batteries more and do different things like that. And you can also build like different like vehicles you can kind of use to traverse underground, and then also get like the light routes and different things like that, and kind of like lighting up the path and trying to fill out the depths. It's just really fun. And honestly, I would say it's like an even better gameplay loop than the different mechanics that were in Breath of the Wild. It just adds so much more. It is basically like double the size of Breath of the Wild. It's just an absolutely incredible game, and definitely one of my all-time favorites.
I will say this, with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, you know, considering the build-up to it, and how silent Nintendo was and what was going on in 2022, where I felt they were on the decline, I was worried that it essentially feel like glorified DLC, but I myself, just like you, was very pleasantly surprised with the game, and it added a ton. I will still say my favorite asset reusing sequel is still Super Mario Galaxy 2, but in terms of your list, I'm gonna just give a concrete answer. I think this is going in third place.
Okay. Next up, we have Link's Awakening, which is my favorite 2D Zelda game, and this kind of goes... I feel like this one's interesting, because this is kind of like, I would say, a mixture of the components of all versions of the game, because I love all versions of Link's Awakening. But, well, I would say the remake is definitely my favorite, but just like Link's Awakening in general, it's just such a really cool and unique game overall. Like, I mean, obviously, since I'm a Mario fan, this is like the go-to Zelda game for a Mario fan. Since it has
You got Wart.
yeah, and
How could it not be?
and you also have like Goombas, Piranha Plants, Pokies, Shy Guys, like all sorts of like different Mario enemies. You even have Kirby. Like you have an enemy that's based on Kirby, which is really cool. They have references to like Sim City in the game as well, and then also like the Frog Whom the Bells Toll. I forgot what that game was called exactly, but that one like Japanese exclusive game was referenced here. But it's just such a wacky, weird, cool Zelda game, and I've always loved it. Like since I first played DX on the 3DS Virtual Console. Like I was actually like a fan of this game before the remake released, and I actually have many different versions of this game. I have it on the Zelda Game & Watch. I have the original version for Game Boy, 3DS Virtual Console, like I already said, and then also on my Switch with the remake. It's just like honestly one of my most replayed Zelda games. It's just really fun to come back to, like especially in the remake where they just made the gameplay like so much better with like the fact that you don't have to swap like your weapons in the menu all the time. It's just like very, like the way they handled it in the remake is great, and like I love the art style in the remake as well. I mean, unfortunately, Pokemon absolutely butchered it with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but
That wasn't an art style. That was slop.
yeah, but it did pave the way for the Super Mario RPG remake as well, which I'll talk about later. But Link's Awakening is really good, and is definitely one of my favorite like top-down 2D games of all time.
I gotta say, the only thing that I could see preventing this from being one of the top games, or not like top 5 or even top 10, but higher up, is just the length of it. So I would have to say it goes in a 16 to 20,
Okay,
but it's above Sonic Adventure 2.
okay. There we go. So moving on, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I would have, if I had more room, I would have picked more Kirby games on this list, but like, out of all the Kirby games to put in my top 20, Kirby and the Forgotten Land is definitely my absolute favorite. Like, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, the build up to this game, like, before it released, I was so hyped, and it definitely delivered. This, like, is the perfect translation of Kirby into 3D, and it is honestly one of my favorite 3D platformers of all time. Like, it's just really fun, like how the levels were designed here. Like, they don't exactly feel like Super Mario 3D World, but like they kind of have that style there, that linear style there, but it also feels like you're kind of exploring like an abandoned world. It's just such a fun and excellent game overall. It's designed so well. Like, I mean, like how
It's one of my favorite Nintendo games too, especially the Abandoned Mall. That is so cool.
Like-
and all the 90s references also applies if you grew up in the early 2000s.
yeah. Like, it's just like the art style here is also amazing as well. They kind of mix that like cartoony Kirby style with like some like semi-realistic aesthetics. It just looks really nice. And this is definitely a great Kirby game for the Switch. Definitely made up for the disappointment that was Star Allies. So
Hey, we also
yeah.
got some other great Kirby games that year. We got Kirby's Dream Buffet, which was a great spin-off.
yeah.
And the following year, we got Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, which is the de facto 2D Kirby game on the Switch. And it's still one of my favorite 2D Kirby games. I will say, Planet Robobot and Triple Deluxe I still like more. But in terms of Forgotten Land, it is easily my favorite Kirby game too. And I'm going to say it's going into top 10 material.
Okay. Would you say below or above Xenoblade?
Slightly below.
Okay. So
This next one I'm going to be interested in, because if it is not top 5 material, we're going to have some problems. But I have an idea where it's going to be.
So Pikmin 4, oh my gosh, I love this game so much. Like, I just like, it takes all of the elements that I've loved from like Pikmin 1, 2, and 3, and it just like, basically kind of combines that into like the perfect Pikmin game. I mean, everything aside from like the fact that it's a tiny bit too easy, it's just such an excellent game overall and very replayable and also very fun to 100%. Like I feel like honestly, I would say this is probably the most fun I've ever had with a game 100%ing it. I mean, there's always like some like annoying factors in some games when trying to 100% them, but there was none of that in Pikmin 4. It was absolutely just amazing to 100% this game. And
It's a very lengthy game too, in a
yeah,
great way. Like it's the perfect length.
and I love what they add with like Ochi and different like abilities and things you could do. Like they brought back like multiple like abilities and things from the older games. Like the lineup trumpet kind of works how you could kind of like move like use the swarm ability in the older game, and it's in like it's just absolutely amazing in general. I love how they finally brought back the actual functionality for purple Pikmin again, because it was missing from like the side content of Pikmin 3. I am so glad that the purples are back. The ice Pikmin are also really cool too, even if they're a little broken. And the glow Pikmin in the night stages are also really fun too. But yeah, Pikmin 4 is just absolutely excellent.
I would say that Pikmin 4, I mean, it's one of my favorite games, but I would have to say it'd probably go into 11 to 15 range. A
Okay.
little bit, yeah, I would say it's higher than Earth, or below Earthbound, higher than Breath of the Wild.
Okay. Moving on to the Mario games. The fact that there's so many Mario games would probably cause Twitter to go like, me when I only like Mario. But
You need to add more farming sims and JRPGs.
yeah. but but yeah, I feel like with Mario games, like I feel like it's pretty obvious why there's like a ton of them here, since that's like my main series. But we saved it for last because like I feel like Demeech probably would know some of these, but also might place them in other places, but we'll have to see. But Superstar Saga, this is a really good game. Like I love the style of this game. Like, and I put the remake on here because I actually prefer the remake slightly over the original. Because
I do too.
I really like the 3DS aesthetic for the Mario and Luigi games. Like, the music is great and the sprites are also really good as well. But I love the fast-paced, like, comedic nature of Superstar Saga. It's such a wacky and fun adventure, and it's just really fun overall. Like, even though, like, they did expand upon the battle system in other games, I do like the simplicity of Superstar Saga's battle system here, and I do appreciate that. And I also love the overall theming of this game with the Bean Bean Kingdom. I feel like it's definitely one of the most fleshed out locations in the Mario RPGs. Like, there's so much consistency with it, with the different characters and the different places you visit. And it almost like seems like they were just developing like a whole other like area here. And it's just like it has like almost as much depth as like the Mushroom Kingdom, and like also like Bowser's kind of area as well. It just like they fleshed the Bean Bean Kingdom out so much here, and it's just really cool.
I will say, I know what your favorite Mario RPG series is, but if I'm going to place Superstar Saga, guessing where you would place it, I would say that it's slightly below Earthbound.
Okay, so between Earthbound and Pikmin 4?
This is a really hard decision. It's either a little bit above Earthbound or a little bit below.
Okay.
If I had to choose, I would say that maybe it's above.
Okay. So moving on, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Right now, I would say over the past few years, this has been my go-to multiplayer game. I was actually playing it with a friend yesterday when I was riding back home on the bus from Washington, D.C. It's just such a great game to just pick up and play. And like, since they added like the DLC, and I mean, the majority of the DLC is actually great. Like, they added the new
I agree.
characters, and like they're like the tracks are actually well polished and upgraded from Tour. and the track selection is just easily the best in the series. There is no debating that. It's just so fun overall. Like, it's just like the mechanics are just so refined from the other Mario Kart games. And I mean, yeah, we have been playing Mario Kart 8 for 10 years now, but like, this game has held up for 10 years. It's just as fun.
It has.
It's just as fun as it has been in 2014. So, and I've been playing the game that long as well, since I actually originally got Mario Kart 8 for Christmas in 2014. So
I got it day one, and I gotta say, I don't think that like a little under a year is gonna make a difference. It's lost a little bit of the luster for me, but at the same time, I've put in over 300 hours in just the Switch version. That's not even counting Mario Kart 8. So yeah, this is a very significant game to me. But considering that you do like stories and things like that, such as characters and such, you know, Pauline might be looking fine, but I think that that's going to get about 10th place.
okay. So, moving on to Super Mario RPG, I am so glad that this happened. This kickstarted a renaissance for the Mario RPGs, and we're finally getting a remake of another one that I'm even more excited about now. But Super Mario RPG, before the remake released, I played through like about like a third of the original game. I really liked it, but for some reason I didn't really get back into it until the remake. But I appreciate this game so much. I just love the different moment-to-moment scenarios in Mario RPG. All of the characters are great, and I love how wacky and weird a lot of the enemies are. Like, this is one of the most interesting and unique depictions of the Mario world, and I just love all the charm that it has. Like, that, just like the wacky kind of aesthetic that Square originally gave to the Mario universe is just really cool, and it surprisingly holds up well in the remake. And Gino and Mallow are some of my favorite Mario characters of all time now, and it's just excellent in general. Like, the gameplay is also great as well. I would say it is a little on the easy side, especially comparing it with Paper Mario 64 and Thousand Year Door, but the action commands are just really fun here, and they're like almost as engaging as they were in the classic Paper Mario games. So Super Mario RPG definitely set a very solid foundation for the Mario RPG, and it's just definitely up there as one of my favorites.
I will say it's probably below Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, because this was the first Mario RPG, and it is a little bit easy. I don't think it's too easy, but where would be a good place for it? I think it's a little bit below Earthbound. Or actually, I think it's below Pikmin 4.
Okay.
Oh, this is going to be an
Yeah.
interesting one.
New-
Very interesting
Okay.
considering the entire thing with New Super Mario Brothers.
Okay, despite the fact that I hate the New Super Mario Bros. Era of Mario, like between New Super Mario Bros. Well, I like New Super Mario Bros. Wii, but between like the early 2010s up until when the Switch launched, that impact that New Super Mario Bros. Wii had, I feel like New Super Mario Bros. DS is completely removed from that. Like, it really feels like a very different game, aside from like gameplay, obviously, from the rest of the New Super Mario Bros. Series. I feel like it really is its own thing, even though the other games kind of did build off of it. It just has a very unique aesthetic to it, and this game
I
is...
think the problem is it was just oversaturated with the succeeding entries.
Yeah, and with New Super Mario Bros. DS, this is a very special game to me. Like, it's one of the first Mario games that I've ever played, and it really kind of gave me an introduction to the Mario world, and I feel like it did a great job at that, just with how everything is portrayed here, and it's not too generic, because they do have, like, a lot of, like, really cool characters here, like the Snailicorns, Lack of Thunder, Cheap Skipper, Monty Tank, a lot of really cool weird enemies here. But it doesn't take things too far. It still is a very grounded Mario adventure, and it's like it still like has a very familiar world and everything. But it is just such an amazing 2D Mario game. like I would say like it just refined the formula so much. And I love how it kind of incorporated the elements from Super Mario 64 so well into 2D. And I love the mini games as well. In the Mario versus Luigi mode, I played that a ton as a kid with my friends. That was really fun. But yeah,
You gonna celebrate your birthday next year at the casino gambling with Luigi?
yeah. Yeah, Luigi's Casino was definitely a highlight too, but yeah, this is definitely a very special game for me.
I will say it's very special to me too, because it was my first Mario game, and really my first Nintendo game, unless you count Brain Age 2. But, you know, considering the impact that it had, and are you going off this list objectively? Because I've been thinking you've been going it or objectively, with a
Well,
little bit of nostalgia here and there.
well, yeah, kind of a mixture of like objectively as well as like my personal enjoyment of the game, I would say.
Hmm. Well, the thing is, I will say it's still a great game, and all these games are amazing. But I would have to say it goes slightly above Breath of the Wild. Or
Okay,
actually, considering how special it is to you, I will say it's below Earthbound, above Pikmin 4.
okay, would you put Breath of the Wild into the next tier then?
Yes.
Okay, so moving on,
And the thing with 2D Mario,
Super
yeah,
Mario
we had a bunch of new Super Mario Brothers games, but it became wonderful
Super Mario
eventually.
Bros. Wonder. Oh my gosh, I love this game so much. Like, I was going like there was like a gap where I didn't play it for like a few weeks, but then I went back and played it again. Oh my gosh, the gameplay just feels amazing. Like just even like aside from like all of the cool unique things it did, like just the gameplay in general, it's just so it just feels so good. One of the like honestly, I would say this is definitely the best 2D games ever. Like in how with how it controls and everything. It's just like it feels so fluid and amazing. But on top of that, it's also really unique. Has so many amazing ideas here. I love the setting of the Flower Kingdom and all of the different areas here. The wonder effects are iconic and absolutely amazing. The new enemies were definitely a highlight as well. I really like the Outmaways, the Mamas, different things like that. It is just
Boom.
yeah, the one that I found, yeah, the baboon that I found on the website. But yeah, Mario Wonder. Oh my gosh, this
I
is
will
just
say, there's only one thing setting it back that I feel like it wouldn't be in top 5, but I feel like it's going to be very high. That's the bosses, and I'll never understand that. How does a Mario game with like 75% new enemies not have new bosses? That is insane. I don't understand
yeah.
what was going on there. Maybe they thought the Wonder Effects were the replacement, I don't know, but if there's a sequel, I think they definitely gotta address that. But in the meantime, I do think that it is above Kirby in the Forgotten Land. It's very hard
Okay.
to choose between Xenoblade 3 and Wonder. It's just, you've had a lot more positive to say about Xenoblade, but you also had a lot positive to say about Wonder. So, was there anything you didn't like about Xenoblade 3?
That's hard. Maybe.
Alright.
Oh, okay. Maybe the chain attack music was a bit annoying. It's hard.
Oh, it's just one song. Now imagine an entire game with irritating music. Yoshi's Crafted World. And I actually like that game. But I
Yeah.
will say it's a little bit below Xenoblade 3, but it's still one of your favorites.
Okay. So, moving on, Super Mario Galaxy. Well, I actually played Super Mario Galaxy 2 recently, and for the longest time, Super Mario Galaxy would have been like really close to the top. But since I played Galaxy 2, I feel like it is a little lower now, but still, it's still an amazing game. Like so many amazing ideas. I feel like it's probably the more iconic game between like Galaxy and Galaxy 2. I mean, Nintendo forgot about Galaxy 2 that added in the 3D All-Stars, but
It
like,
was too good for the collection, just like Kablooey was for this list. But I see you're a base Super Mario Galaxy 2 enjoyer as well. I prefer it over the first one too. Yeah, sure, the first one's more iconic, has a story and everything, but Galaxy 2 is just so much better with level design. It has Yoshi, power-ups
Yeah.
are way better. So I'm gonna say that Galaxy, you are going into Mr. 10th place.
Okay. So, Galaxy 2, this one is just absolutely incredible. Definitely one of the best 3D Mario games ever. Like, the level design is so much more creative and interesting. I mean, it is already amazing in the first game, but like, they just, the extra notch that they give it in Galaxy 2 just makes it just amazing. And there's just like, it's just really fun overall, like, when I played this game. And it's just absolutely incredible with Yoshi. Yoshi actually is very intuitive with how he controls and everything. And I actually like the 2D segments in this game. I noticed that there's quite a lot of them, but they control really well, and they're actually really fun. It's just like the fact, like, I feel like the linear design of this game is actually just designed just nearly flawlessly, and it's just like amazing. And honestly, a lot of people say like, oh, it's not as creative as the original Galaxy, but honestly, I feel like the only way it's not really as creative as the original, like Galaxy 1, is the fact that it doesn't have as much of a story. It still has many creative, like, areas in different locations and everything. So,
It has Lubba too.
yeah, and oh, well, Lubba automatically makes it better. But yeah,
Hey yo! I would say that with Super Mario Galaxy 2, that is going into 5th place.
okay.
Oh, can we just get rid of this one game that's coming up next? It's not a masterpiece. It has so many damn flaws. And
Too many
you
moons.
should believe it.
Too many
moons. There's too much
many
to do.
moons.
Why do we have games like this?
Nintendo had to cancel Odyssey 2 because of the monotonous moon hunting. It's just absolutely terrible. But yeah.
People complained about too much content. They canned Odyssey 2 and we got Mario Strikers Battle League. But in all seriousness,
But yeah.
I am glad you're on a very similar page when it comes to this game because it's my favorite Mario game.
Yeah.
Still to this day. And I hope we see a sequel. I'm not sure if it'll happen, but I think that it'd be hilarious if Nintendo said, Odyssey 2 is coming this year. And then on Switch 2, they have a 3D Mario game built from the ground up.
But yeah, let me describe this game real quick to give you a good idea of how much I love it. It's peak fiction. Peak. I love this game so much. It's one of the best Mario games that ever happened. It's just absolutely amazing. Everything that I ever wanted in a Mario game is here, along with another one that I'm going to talk about later. But just the controls are amazing, the creativity, the world, it's just everything about this game. It's nearly flawless. Just one of,
I will say, a very significant thing about Super Mario Odyssey is that it was the renaissance for the Mario series. We've definitely been seeing a lot more of that now, but it just completely eliminated the new Super Mario Bros. Era. It has amazing gameplay. I love the open world nature of it. And sure, it's not structured with missions, but it's a different kind of game. So it's great to play on the go, but also great to play on your TV for long play sessions. I love the costumes. There's so many fun ones for Mario. The only one that's questionable, I don't know why they needed the Harriet costume or Peach's wedding dress. When I saw that was the amiibo support, I was like, okay, this has to be a joke. But, you know, this is a game that did everything that was unexpected. Creative, has some amazing characters. Only problem with Super Mario Odyssey, we just didn't get a sequel to it. And I don't feel like Nintendo has realized the game enough in the spin-offs. Because in the GameCube era, you'd see a lot of stuff from Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, even WarioWare. But Odyssey, yeah, you've seen a few new Dunk City stages here and there. But you don't see any of the cool NPCs or Cappy. And it's kind of a bummer, but if we're just talking about games, I'm going to go out and say this is going to be first place, but it's tied with another game.
Okay.
And that game is not Paper Mario 64.
Yeah, but going into Paper Mario, here we go. Paper Mario 64, just an absolutely incredible like iteration of the Mushroom Kingdom. The perfect iteration of the Mushroom Kingdom, I would say. Like, definitely the best, like, Bowser kidnapping Peach plot they've ever done. Honestly, they should have stopped here. Like, they should have, like, this game just puts every other Bowser kidnapping Peach plot to shame. Like, it's just absolutely amazing, because it's not just about Bowser and Peach. It's also about the Star Spirits, and the lore that they have with that, with Starhaven. They introduced so many amazing worlds here, like between like the dry desert, the Shiver region, Gusty Gulch, and like the mansion with the booze, and then Toad Town is also really cool as well. And also like Bowser's castle is also really cool. This is like, other than the airship, this is the first time they had like a floating Bowser's castle that they kind of brought. Even in the movie, they referenced it. That's how much impact they had with like Bowser having like a whole floating castle thing. And just the characters are also really iconic too. Like Bo, Tubba Blubba, Kammy Koopa, Parakarry, Goombario, just so many cool characters. The Koopa Bros. It's just like, also Junior Troopa is cool as well. Anti-Guy, and then also like General Guy. So many cool characters here. Just like an amazing start to my favorite video game series of all time, well tied with 3D Mario, but just like absolutely amazing.
I will say that Paper Mario is probably below Superstar Saga, but above Earthbound.
Okay. Would Super Mario RPG go into the next tier?
It would.
Okay.
Gee, I wonder where this game will go.
It's terrible! There is too much backtracking! I can't believe they're remaking this one over Color Splash! They should have chose Color Splash!
They should have just remade Sticker Star Hotel Mario. Although, all jokes aside, I think a port of Color Splash would be a good idea.
But
get rid of the gamepad stuff, might be a good time. But I know for certain that this is beyond a good time.
Oh.
And is essentially heaven for you. So it is tied with Super Mario Odyssey.
But yeah. Thousand Year Door. Thousand Year Door. I can't believe it's being remade. This doesn't feel real. This it's perfect. It is just perfect. I don't even mind, like, backtracking and things. Like, the battle system is just so incredibly good. Like, just everything that they do here, it's just, the characters, Vivian Bobbery, all the other characters, like Flavio, I don't want to spoil it, but there's, like, the one funny ghost character.
I know who you're talking about.
Also Cortez, Hooktail, Koops, Goombella, Frankly. Oh my gosh.
It's not just one of the best Mario games, it's one of the greatest games ever made.
Yeah.
And considering it's getting a remake, we got a Game of All Time contender. I mean, we already did, but now, that is Game of the Year material, and it's a remake.
Honestly,
remake...
I will say with confidence that the remake will most likely be my Game of the Year. Probably.
I mean, unless they release Odyssey 2, I don't know what else could be. Maybe Princess Peach Showtime? Okay, I know that the game's got a lot of flack, but you just seem to be more neutral on it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that Thousand Year Door, my placing is pretty good, but this one, you're going to have to explain a little more about Super Paper Mario, because I know there are the two sides. There are the sides like Joshi, who just despise the game and consider it a disgrace to gaming. But then there are the ones like you, and of course Fawful, who love the game.
Okay,
I'm somewhere in between.
I think you're going to be surprised about how much I love this game. But definitely the best story in any Mario game. Like, it's just, like, absolutely incredible. Like, the high stakes that they have here. Like, the story with, like, love and loss between, like Tippy and Count Black. It's just amazing. And, like, the plot twist that they do with Dementio. Dementio's a really cool character, too. Like, one of the best villains. And along with Count Black. Count Black is also one of the best villains they've ever introduced in the Mario franchise. Really hope they come back in something like one of the Mario movies or something like that, even though that's unlikely. It's just like, just an absolutely amazing game for me. Like, I know people have a problem with the gameplay, but honestly, I actually really enjoyed it. Cause like, I know that I said that like with Xenoblade that gave me an appreciation for like action RPGs, but I feel like Super Paper Mario kind of initially kind of kicked that off because it kind of is. Like, I feel like a lot of people just see it as like a standard platformer and judge it as a standard platformer. But honestly, I think it's a lot more than a standard platformer. Like, you can do like quite a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of puzzles. I mean, yeah, some of the puzzles are annoying, but I feel like just the majority of the game felt like pretty fun for me, like in terms of the gameplay and things. They take a lot of the elements from like Thousand Year Doors, like overworld gameplay, and kind of incorporate it into 2D. Like, it's just like, I feel like this game is just pretty special to me in general because it kind of reintroduced me to, well, it both introduced me and reintroduced me to the Paper Mario series. Like, it's actually the first Paper Mario game that I played. And surprisingly enough, I actually didn't like it when I first tried it. But then when I fully played through the game, like later when I was a kid, I absolutely loved it. And then when I came back to it in 2020, when I got it for my birthday, because I initially played it at one of my family members' houses, I loved it even more on my second playthrough. It's just like, just an incredible game in my opinion. And yes, I can understand how it's not for everyone, I would say. I can understand why some people don't enjoy this game as much. And I mean, yeah, I absolutely prefer the battle system in Thousand Year Door and Paper Mario 64 and would rather have those continue in the Paper Mario series than Super's gameplay. But just with the story that they tell here, this game is just really special to me, and just absolutely amazing, I would say.
I will say, it's going above Kirby and the Forgotten Land, but slightly below Mario Wonder.
Okay.
Definitely, I wouldn't rank it as high, but I understand that the story is just incredible. It's just the gameplay that I'm not too sure about. That's just my take. I know yours is different, but it's interesting because Super Paper Mario has the creativity and the story, but gameplay's kind of iffy. Whereas Origami King has the gameplay, but the creativity and story are iffy.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting reviewing that game, but I'm saying that it is going into 8th place.
Okay, and would you move Super Mario Galaxy down to like...
Yeah.
And then would Pikmin 4 be 16 through 20?
Yep.
Okay. Is this your final ranking?
I will look over it, but I'm very confident that this is the final ranking, and I'm very excited to see how well I did.
Okay. There we go. Here's the list.
All right, let's see how... Oh, wow! All right, here's what I'm surprised about. So I'm surprised that Super Mario Bros. Wonder is in top 3. I thought that Tears of the Kingdom would be placed higher. I'm not surprised with the ranking of Xenoblade. Minecraft I expected to be a little bit higher than Wonder, but everything else, let me just check that out. I'm a little bit surprised that you like Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga less than Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Yeah,
It looks like I got the placement for Mario RPG almost right.
I feel like with Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, I feel like that's just the impact and impression that I got for it was just like just so amazing in general, I feel.
And I'm a little surprised you like Super Mario RPG more than Superstar Saga.
Well, with the remake specifically, I feel like the way they like iron so many of the things out and add so much to the battle system in terms of like the combos and triple moves, I feel like that's kind of what puts this one makes it a little better for me, just because I feel like just like with how they handled the remake and just how polished and just how like amazing it is in general, combined with all the wackiness and just amazing unique aesthetic of Super Mario RPG. I would say that just puts the remake slightly above Superstar Saga, I would say.
Considering how great all these games are, it was a little bit hard figuring out where they'd go, but, you know, a lot of my predictions were right. I did expect you to like, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, usually you would expect that to be top 5. A little bit lower than I expected, Breath of the Wild and Galaxy a little bit higher. But yeah, the list is very surprising, but this was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, I'm
But
sure
the
you're.
one that was not surprising is what the first two games were. The best ones.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was pretty obvious to you when I even suggested the idea of doing this video to you. You probably knew, oh, Thousand Year Door and Super Mario Odyssey, because I think I've said so many times that those are like my tied as my two favorite games of all time. And you know, over the past like 4 years, I feel like Thousand Year Door kind of like slowly weaved through my top five favorite games of all time. Because like a few years ago, I originally said that well, this was before Tears of the Kingdom. It was my top three, or my top four, I think, was Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Minecraft, and then Thousand Year Door. Then a little after that, it went into my top three, and then then it went into my top two right behind Odyssey, and now it's tied. Now it's tied with Odyssey. I feel like over time, like I mean, yeah, I've obviously like it's always been one of my most like enjoyed games of all time, but like it's just I feel like just even more, it's just been building up over the years, which makes it perfect now that the remake is happening.
Yeah, and I will say that Super Mario Bros. Wonder being in third place, I expected Tears of the Kingdom to be above it. I expected Wonder to be above Super Paper Mario, but I did not expect it to be above Galaxy 2.
Well,
But I can totally see why.
I feel like with Wonder, I mean, yeah, the bosses are lackluster, but everything else in Wonder is just like absolutely incredible, and it just goes beyond like even what I've expected from 2D Mario, and it's just like, and honestly, I feel like as Odyssey was kind of like a creative return to form for like 3D Mario, I feel like Wonder was basically that for 2D Mario. And Wonder kind of fully cemented the fact that we're in a creative renaissance for Mario. Now we know
Absolutely.
now we know we're back at the level of creativity that we had in the early 2000s for Mario, like between the GameCube, DS, and Wii era. I feel like
I
we're
have one final thing to say before we wrap things up. Mario mandates are dead!
yeah.
They're dead! And you can thank Mario Wonder, I'd say Sparks of Hope with Bowser's or Rabid Mecha Koopas. Mario
Yeah.
mandates are gone!
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah. Like you can't even make that excuse anymore with Thousand
I
Year
mean, you
Door
got the
happening.
Toads in Super Mario RPG jumping on the bed. So yeah, they're completely dead.
But yeah, so anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. And make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. And make sure to subscribe to Demeech as well. So yeah.
And also wish Reecee a happy birthday. And we're going to end things off with a little birthday song. Happy, happy, happy birthday to you. Happy, happy, happy birthday to you. Happy, happy, happy birthday.
I'm having a perky birthday. So yeah, stay
Okay, that's it. I'm done. Stay perky. Happy birthday, Reecee.